What's up, everybody? Welcome back for another video tonight. Tonight we're going to be working on the Fossil here behind us, doing some more winter upgrades. But before we jump into that, I just want to take a second here to tell you guys that any of the local people around the Northern Kentucky, Greater Cincinnati area that are asking me, hey, when are you going to be at an event near me? When are you going to be local to where we can come and pick up some apparel? Check out this flyer right here. This Saturday, February 11th, I will be set up at Instant Karma Racing's open house. If you've never been to their open house, it's a really cool event. Food, drinks, it's a really cool speed shop. They've got 10% off everything they have in stock, and they have a lot of stuff in stock. They'll be doing all kinds of games and entertainment all night. Starts at 1 o'clock. There's a practice tree tournament. They're raffling off a trailer. They'll have Hoosier tires in stock. All these companies that you're seeing here will be on hand to talk to you guys. Just a really cool event. I'll be there with all of my apparel, and all of my apparel will be discounted. So if you're local and you're looking to get some of my apparel, this is definitely the place to get it, and a really cool atmosphere to hang out with everybody in the racing community. It's in Walton, Kentucky, and the information for the directions are here at the bottom of the page. Okay, so tonight's task is we are going to be doing some added safety to the truck here behind us, and in the form of a new race seat. If you guys watched the last video I put out about the roll cage certification, I hinted that we were going to be doing a new seat in the truck, and I kind of explained a little bit of why. But let's go over here to the truck. Let me show you guys the seat that I currently have and why it's really subpar for what I'm trying to do and for being safe. So this seat here is an old RCI plastic seat with a vinyl cover on it. This is pretty much the cheapest race seat that you can get. And the reason that I went with this seat originally is because 8-9 years ago when I was building the truck, I had a different outlook on what the truck was going to be. It was going to be a little bit more street truck, a little bit less race truck. And I wanted a racing seat so I could run the racing harnesses that I needed to run, but I wanted it to look kind of stock. And my dad actually has this same seat and cover combo in his race car, and so that's what I went with. Not necessarily because of the cheap cost, but because of the look of it. Staying with the full interior look, I did like the way that the seat looked. And then I mounted it on a factory first-gen seat frame setup, and so actually it's adjustable. The center lever there in the center, you can pull it just like a factory first gen, and you can slide it back up and forward and back. And I thought that was pretty trick, but because of that, it's heavy. That seat bracket there, I don't know what it weighs. We're gonna find out in this video, but that's it's thick steel, 1/8 plate steel. It's definitely not light. And the seat itself is pretty light, being that it's plastic, but it's not the most ideal setup. But this isn't really about weight. I don't care, honestly, if I was adding weight to the truck. This is one of those areas that I talked about to where sometimes you have to add a little weight to make a nicer vehicle. And I don't think I'm going to be adding any weight. I think that it's going to be just as light as what I have here, possibly even a tick lighter, but I don't really care. That's not really the point of this. This plastic seat offers me little to no protection in a crash. As you can see, the sides of the seat, if we can peek through the window net here, they're just a low side, so my the shoulder's exposed. There's nothing, or I'm sorry, my arm. There's nothing here around the shoulders. There's no sort of head containment. And so in a bad accident, like a rollover or something of those sorts, you'd be relying on this SFI padding around your head there. And this seat is not going to save you. We have a really nice seat in JP's truck, and that's the same seat that I'm putting in this. And when I was racing his truck, I can tell you that I felt safe in that seat, and I felt like I was a part of the vehicle. And this, I feel like I'm gambling with my life. So that is not a good feeling when you're at the racetrack. The only reason that this hasn't been more of a priority than what it is because one, these really nice seats are expensive, and two, I haven't gone super fast with the truck yet. That is no excuse. It doesn't matter how fast or slow you're going. This stuff can be dangerous. You can get hurt. But to me, if you're going 5 anything and quicker on a regular basis, you need to spend the money and invest in a really nice seat. So enough rambling on about this seat here. Let's go check out the new seat, and let me show you guys why it's so much better. Feast your eyes on the new hotness. This here is a Racetech seat. Racetech makes a lot of different seats. You can get very carried away, and you can spend a lot of money on a Racetech seat. This particular model is one of their more affordable. I say affordable with an asterisk mark. These things are not cheap, but we're talking about safety items here. We're talking about places where it's really important to spend a little bit of money if you can. These Racetech seats, the reason that these things are expensive is because they're very safe. They actually have a doctor that they work with, an injury specialist, when they're designing any of their seats to ensure that they are giving you the best chance possible at surviving a really bad accident. I have talked to so many people that have had really bad wrecks, friends of mine, and they did not have a Racetech seat in the car, and they walked away with some sort of injury. And all of them have said the same thing. If I would have had a Racetech seat in it, I don't even think that I would have had to go to the hospital. So with anytime you see a crash, and in racing, if you stick around here long enough, you're going to see quite a few. It really makes you stop and revisit your safety stuff. And this year we had, several incidences in the racing world. And I just wanted to make sure that a seat was on my list. Fortunately for me, my wife actually got me this for Christmas, which was super awesome of her. It's one less thing that I had to get. But let's show you guys what about this seat makes it so special. So it's an aluminum body, and you can get these in carbon fiber. Like I said, you can spend a lot of money if you want to. This is definitely not the lightest option that they have, but it's the one that fits me. That's another thing with the Racetech seats, is because they contain you so well. This is a containment seat. You have to make sure that you fit in it. When I was at PRI, I actually sat in this seat to make sure that it was going to work for me, because regardless, I was buying one of these things this winter. The seat that we have in JP's truck is very similar to this, but it's a discontinued model that they don't make anymore. So I wanted to make sure before I spent all this money on a seat that I could definitely fit in it. This is a wide and tall model for guys built like me. And then if you're a smaller guy, they have plenty of smaller options, but this is actually the biggest seat that they have. So I'm about the biggest driver, honestly, that would be able to fit in a Racetech seat. So if you're really much bigger than I am, then you kind of have to go with like a carbon seat and do a pour in and that kind of stuff. But fortunately, I fit in these things. They're a nice padded material. I don't know what they're made out of. It feels nice, but very safe and honestly very comfortable seat. You're definitely sandwiched into this deal, but you feel nice and relaxed and comfortable when you're in it. Feeling comfortable in your race truck or race car is extremely important. If you don't feel comfortable, nothing else is going to come natural to you. And then these here are their floor brackets. And a lot of guys, especially in the truck world, because trucks are so weird with the way the floors are made, a lot of guys will make these brackets themselves. They'll do it out of tube or mount it to the cage or whatnot. That's actually how it is in JP's truck, because the 3rd gen cab is so big that if you mounted this seat with these brackets, you wouldn't be able to see over the steering wheel. You'd be sitting so low. But a 1st gen cab is actually really small. And funny thing is, the wheelbase of this truck is almost the same as the wheelbase of that truck. which is really wild to me. But this bracket setup here will work in my truck because of the way that the floor is designed. It's flat enough and the cab is small enough to where the seat will bolt in. So these brackets here will save me a bunch of time. They're made out of aluminum, so honestly I wouldn't even be able to build anything lighter than these anyways, so I'm really not leaving anything on the table by going with these brackets. And then as you can see, they're slotted with holes for lots of adjustment up and down. You've got lots of front and back options, so should be a good set of brackets, should work well in my particular truck here. So we're going to stop talking and start working, and I'll get the old seat out, get the new one in, and then we'll catch back up after this thing's in the Fossil. Okay, so just taking these bolts out of the bottom of the seat here to get ready to mock up the new seat brackets. Just going to see exactly which hole that we're going to use and kind of mock it up so we have an idea of what it's going to look like in the truck. Going to go over here to the truck, kind of get an idea of the angle in which the seat needs to set in relation to the floor, and start with there. Look, this guy's showing you again, he knows how to use the washer. Nah, he dropped it. Good, nobody cares. So getting this bracket on here, and then now we're going really fast, and we are now about ready to put this thing in the truck and see how it sets. She's a real beaut, Clark. And so now for the task of removing the old plastic seat here. First thing we had to do was get the seat belts off. I'm really glad that I was able to just undo the lap belts and fish them through the little turnbuckle deals, because those seat belt bolts that I used are like the factory style, and so they're like kind of like a taper design, and man, they suck to try to get out. You pretty much got to use an impact to get them out, and where they're at, they're really hard. So I was happy to be able to just fish the seat belt brackets through there. So now I'm working on taking the 4 mounting bolts that hold the seat on off, and that should pretty much be all that I need to do to get that thing out of there. Okay, so now we have to weigh it. Let's take any guesses here on what we think this one weighs. Man, this is a tough one. I'm going to say like maybe 17 pounds. That's probably a little high. Oh, let's see. Holy crap. Make sure it levels out. 28 pounds. God dang. That ain't race car. Sheesh. Okay, let's see what the new hotness weighs. Okay, moment of truth. Did we lose any weight? Oh, of course. Nice. 6 pounds. So not only are we safer, but we are now 6 pounds lighter. Shoo-wee! As you saw there, the Mr. Racetech seat is in and mocked up. We're not bolted in yet. We have to drill some new holes in the floor to mount it with, but I have sat in it. I've got it all positioned pretty much exactly where I want it. I will say that those floor mount brackets barely work for a truck application. It would be nice if they were a little bit taller. Luckily for me, I'm 6'2", so they're pretty much perfectly tall enough, and I wanted to lower my seat down anyways to get myself a little bit more head clearance, and I like my line of sight to be in the center of the windshield, of the middle of it. So I set up too high in the truck before, so now I moved down, and it feels really comfortable. It's going to be weird getting used to it just because it is a containment seat. You feel a lot more constricted, but after a couple laps, I'll be right at home. So let's take a look at this baby. Man, I just can't say enough about the quality of this Racetech stuff. Just super, super top-notch stuff. But the brackets, they sit on the floor nicely, so just have to drill some holes here, drill some holes here, you know, one hole, same on the other side. Go up underneath the truck there to bolt it in. You probably can't see anything, I'm just making you guys really dizzy. But because this floor pan is flat all the way through here, and then all the way to the tunnel hump, basically over here to the shifter, this floor pan is completely flat, so I was able to use those brackets. But like I said, barely. If this was really anything more than what it is now, I'd be making my own brackets, and I'd be really sad because that would take lots and lots of time to get the seat exactly where you want it, mock it up, make the brackets. There's a lot that goes into fitting yourself into a race car nicely. So really happy the universal mounts worked out. And once I get this thing final mounted in here, then I'll have to reinstall the seat belts. Seat belts will just fish through these little cutouts here on each side for the lap belts. The crotch belt will go down to the floor. I will have to drill a hole in the floor for the crotch belt because before that was actually mounted to the seat frame. Now I'm gonna have to mount it to the actual floor of the truck. And then my shoulder belts will go back through here and then reattach to, oops, if I can get the camera back there, reattach to the seat brace little tab right back there. And then once I'm done with all that, I still have one more thing that I'll have to do. I will still need to put a seat brace to this rear tube here. So that way, once it's all bolted in, it's nice and solid. That is an NHRA rule. So any seat you have has to be braced with a back brace in some way, shape, or form. So once I get this mounted, get the belts in it, that'll be the last thing I do. To be honest with you guys, my last seat did not have a brace in it. It's set basically right up against the tube, kind of like this one does, but I never got checked for it, but we're gonna do it right this time since we're doing this seat safe and doing it right. All right, so there we have it. I'm not gonna go ahead and like finish the install in this video because there's really nothing else left to see of it. I'm just gonna be doing some boring work that nobody wants to watch on a time lapse anyways. Nothing's gonna change as far as the looks. That is exactly how you'll see it. I just need to mount everything. So now not only do we have a much safer seat, a containment seat, it's gonna protect me far better than that plastic seat, but we also lost 6 pounds. So another one of those dual purpose weight loss situations, making the truck better. And anytime you can do a weight loss and a gain in another area, you can kill 2 or 3 birds with one stone. That's a really big win. That's a good place to spend your money. So that's gonna do it for this one, guys. I'm gonna get off the camera here, get this thing finished up, get the work done on this. And if you're new here, click the subscribe button. Like this video if you guys like it. It helps me get the content out there to more people. We are about to crest 1,100 subscribers. So I have gained this last 100 subscribers very quickly, and I appreciate you guys for that. So keep watching the videos. I appreciate it. It supports the channel. And like always, guys, we'll catch you next time.